Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Katie Ann, and today we'll be going into a new series along our food product development journey. Of course, if you're new here, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. Of course, share it with your friends and leave a comment with any questions that you may have, and I will do my best to answer all of them. As you can see, it's another hot day in Kingston, and I am hoping that it cools down soon. But anyways, let's get right into the video. From the title, you can see that today we'll be talking about food additives. And before you all get up in your feelings, food additives are a good thing. Let us define some of the terms. What are food additives? Well, food additives are any substance that are intentionally added to food to preserve its flavor, color, texture, and this enables it to have a longer shelf life. So anything that you see on the shelf, majority of them have food additives added. And as I said before, it enables us to extend the shelf life so that now we can have them for longer periods. We can have them out of season. We can ship them abroad. So persons in our diaspora will be able to enjoy them. So most of the people who are foreign, really love the Jamaican food because our taste is like no other, right? It is generally non-nutritive, that is added to food in small quantities. These exclude substances that are added to improve the nutritive value, such as vitamins or minerals. So you may see a food that has fortified with added vitamins, or fortified with added C, fortified with calcium. We are not talking about those. So we're talking about non-nutritive substances that helps to preserve the food and make it last longer. And of course, with everything, there is a criteria for which we can use these food additives. It must have a useful purpose, so you don't just add things to food for adding things to it. No. There must be a purpose of why you're adding the thing to the food. It needs to be safe and non-toxic, and it does not mislead the consumer. So you don't add food additives to something that is spoiled to try and cover up a fault that is generally bad. So if it is that you have some spoiled meat, and if you're adding something to it, it may make the meat appear to be wholesome and good, but that is misleading the consumer because the thing is spoiled, and when the time they carry it home and ready to cook it now, they will realize that this is actually not good. So we don't want anything that is going to mislead the consumer. So why do we use food additives? Foods are generally subjected to many environmental conditions. Of course, we live in a world that have different seasons, and we know that in some seasons fruits hardly bear on trees, especially in some parts of the world that may experience snow. And when you have blizzards and them things, nothing now grow up on tree. Right? So food preservation came about to help to safeguard so that during the winter there would be food from like spring and summer when you will harvest them, so you'll have food right throughout the year, right back until the next spring. So persons had to become creative to have food to last all throughout that period of time. So you want to be able to gather as much as you can during the harvesting time or during the fruitful times, so that you will have to last until the next season. So we remember back in the day when, remember the story of Joseph and the brothers when they go down to Egypt now and they turn big shot and he harvest, and he got the dream that he must harvest for 7 years because you're going to have 7 years of famine. Right, so something like that. But a lot of our foods don't last during storage as it is. Right, you can have an apple or fruits and they will generally last weeks or days. Right, so you need it to Now we're able to transfer the food from where there is an abundance to places where there is a shortage of food, right? So during transportation, we have spoilage occurring, especially in our perishable items, such as fruits, vegetables, meats, and dairy products. And this is because these produce contains enzymes that are active even after we harvest them. So these chemical reactions caused by these enzymes are continuously happening in these fresh produce, and so over time the spoilage occurs. And take for instance, if you pick green bananas and you put it down, after a couple of days it ripens. That is because there are compounds in there that are continuously at work to bring about these changes. And if you leave it, it will become spoiled because these chemical processes does not end until you process them. So if you add a food additive or if you add heat, then that will slow or stop these chemical processes from occurring. And of course, I mean, people might say we live in Jamaica, we have things bearing all year round because we live in the perfect climate. However, you have some persons who are diasporas out there and they want and sometimes need some of the nice Jamaican goodness, right? So that enables, or adding a food additive enables them then to get the Jamaican foods any time of the year in any part of the world. With technology and of course more knowledge, we have developed, or persons have developed certain chemicals or natural and artificial substances that can be used to help to add to what was already done or to better those processes. These additives are highly regulated, and the FDA and of course other governing bodies in Europe and other parts of the world have a tight rope on the usage of these compounds or substances. The European Food Safety Authority developed a system that gives each food additive a unique number that is used to recognize it, and this number is used worldwide. So even though it was developed by the European community, the same number will persist throughout the world. So if you go in South America, it's the same number. If you go in USA, same number. We'll be looking at a few types of food additives. So we're going to be looking at colors, preservatives, antioxidants, thickeners and stabilizers, anti-caking agents, flavors, flavor enhancers, antibiotics, glazing agents, sweeteners, and other chemicals that are used but don't generally fall into these categories. Alright, so let's get into it. Colors. So colors are dyes or pigments that are added to food, drugs, or cosmetics, and this enhances the organoleptic appeal of a product. Right? So if you are making, look at grape juice or grape drink, that is generally purple, but we know that when we crush up the grape, we don't get that purple, right? And we know so when we crush up cherry, we don't get it red, so it normally have a lighter color, right? But there are certain colors that are synonymous with a particular product. So these colors are used so that when the consumer sees it, they will know that this is what it is. Orange juice, when we squeeze orange, it will look orange like what we normally get. Right? So that is what colors. One of the bases for a product to be on the shelf or for it to be shelf stable is that it has to be pasteurized, meaning it has to be heated. So heat is applied to a particular temperature, and so that helps with the preserving effect for the food. Now once heat is applied to a natural substance, we notice that it changes, and so one of the properties that changes is the color. So to mitigate against the losses of color that happens during food processing, then we add artificial colors or natural colors to help with the look of the product. And again, because color is synonymous with a particular flavor and that will affect the taste, these additives are added to help to minimize the loss that occur during food processing. Thank you for joining me. today on this journey as we went through types of additives that are added to food. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that this information will enable you now to understand a little better when you look on your label and you see all these things, exactly what they are there and what is there and what they're used for. I think you can comment if you have any questions, and I will try to be a little bit more clear. And of course, stay tuned for my other videos which will go in detail and in more depth as to how these additives are used. Right? Okay, so see you. Bye.